Oh, what a mess.
This is Neil Schneider from Meant to Be Seen. Welcome back to my messy basement. Today, I'm going to talk about responsible virtual reality. Really big topic. I think it's going to be interesting. Next, we've got this wonderful interview with a company called WakingApp. I actually met WakingApp at FMX 2016, and they create a software package called Entity Creator. For those unfamiliar, Entity Creator is a completely free software package that makes it possible for anyone to create virtual reality content, even if they have no programming expertise whatsoever. So it's really, really big idea, very exciting software, and of course we're going to learn more about that later today. So let's talk about responsible virtual reality. And before we do, I just want to define some terms. I think understanding this is going to be very helpful a little later in the program. So the two terms I want to talk about are empathy and sympathy. So empathy, or to empathize, means to understand someone else, but not be at the same emotional level, that you're not emotionally synchronized, like equally happy, equally sad, equally afraid. So that's what I mean. So a really good example of this would be, perhaps a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist, they see all kinds of patients. It's a very emotional line of work. People are discussing their challenges and their problems. But through it all, the psychiatrist, they have to completely understand their patient, but they can't afford to be at the same emotional level, because if they were, they wouldn't actually be able to help their patient. So again, this is an example where one person completely understands the other, but they're not at the same emotional level. Now, the other option is sympathy, or to sympathize. And in this case, two people, not only do they understand each other, but they're at the same emotional level as well. So the closest comparable I could think of is a funeral. You assuming that everyone is equally connected to the deceased, one person tells the other person the news, and not only do both these individuals completely understand each other, they're equally sad. Now, it's not limited to, obviously, a sad case. It could be equally happy, equally angry, and so on. But the point is that these two individuals, not only do they understand each other, but they're emotionally synchronized with one another. So again, empathy, you understand the other person, but you're not emotionally synchronized. Sympathy, you understand the other person, and you're emotionally in sync. Now, media, and when I say media, I mean media technology, it could be empathetic, or it could be sympathetic. So I would describe the following media as being empathetic media. So television, film, video games when they're played through television. I describe them as being empathetic because, when you're viewing the film or playing the games, you never really sense that you're personally in danger. Okay, you're not, this doesn't impact you as an individual. You could completely feel for what you see on screen or on camera. I'll admit it, I cry at movies, embarrassingly so. But it's because I feel for the characters. I feel for their story. It's not a case where I'm in the story and this, impacts me personally. So now if we look at virtual reality, is virtual reality empathetic or is it sympathetic? If we look at virtual reality content creation, the whole goal behind VR content creation is very much to achieve presence. Now, for those unfamiliar, presence, I'll describe it like this, is when our subconscious minds and our bodies accept what we see and experience as being very much real. So a really good example of this is if I'm in a virtual reality experience and I see a pit or a giant chasm in front of me, my conscious mind will say, hey, Neil, don't worry about it. Just walk across. There's solid footing there. It's just an illusion. But my subconscious mind and my body has a very different opinion. I'll hesitate. Even though I want to walk across, my body will hesitate. So this is, in my opinion, even though it's not so much about being emotionally attached to the experience, you very well could be. I do think of this as a sympathetic media, because when you're in these virtual reality experiences and you're fully convinced in those experiences subconsciously, you're one and the same. It's not that you're empathizing with the experience, you're actually sympathizing with the experience. So that's the way I look at virtual reality, if indeed it's a very successful experience. So why should we care? Well, I think everybody wants great content we want safe products, and of course we want happy customers. I see myself as wanting to be a happy virtual reality customer. And in order to make all these, three possibilities a reality, we have to have an understanding of how virtual reality influences us. Now, from what I've seen so far, all the key vendors have been being as responsible as they can by self-regulating. And what they do is they determine which content goes in their stores and which content doesn't. If they're not comfortable with something, it's not going to, appear in the store, and consumers hopefully won't be able to, get access to something that isn't healthy for them. But, that being said, I haven't seen any, major organized efforts to have joint discussions about this. And I think that's very important. And when the media asks or when consumers ask, I think it's very helpful that, if the market leaders could have solid answers to this, or, speak from, experience as to how virtual reality stands to influence consumers. I mean, I know they know a great deal. However, they would know even more by jointly talking to one another. So if we can, solidify those answers, or, jointly discuss on a regular basis, this is a great thing, because it helps vendors sell their products with confidence. Content makers have a further understanding of, their content creation and what it means for their consumers, and perhaps targeting it to, to the consumers that they intend. Consumers, of course, will have a much better grasp of virtual reality and what it means for them, and which experiences, will be most fruitful for them. And in some cases for their kids as well. And I think by having the conversations, it helps create, solid answers to what shouldn't be tough questions. There's no reason to go with a best case, so let me rephrase that, a best guess mentality. So the Immersive Technology Alliance has taken the first step. We want those conversations to happen, and we want them to happen on a regular basis. Dr. Michael Mederi, he's a top expert in virtual reality ethics. He published the first code of ethics alongside Dr. Thomas Messinger at Johannes Gutenberg University, Mainz. And he's an ethicist at Trilateral Research, really a top person in this field. And we're very proud that he's heading up the Immersive Technology Alliance's Responsible Consumer VR Experience Working Group. Now, I can't underscore this enough. Don't panic. This is not a censorship issue, not at all. We aren't chasing the monster under the bed. We just want to have a facility in place that, we all have an opportunity to learn, to build a better understanding of what this media means to the market and to its consumers. Now, here's the payoff, okay? Just to put this all in perspective. Is there a comparable to where virtual reality is today, in other types of big innovations that's happened over the years, or the last few hundred years? And the strongest comparable I could find, and I think it's a really good one, is early steam engines, very early locomotives. Why is that the case? Well, about 150 years ago, it was feared that women couldn't ride steam engines because their bodies were not designed to go that fast. The concern was that as soon as the locomotive hit 50 miles per hour, women's abdomens would explode and their uteruses would fly out. I'm being absolutely serious. It was a very serious concern that as soon as that locomotive hit 50 miles per hour, like, women would literally explode. That was the concern. And just to show you how serious an issue, this was in the day, here's a reenactment. Okay, so what's the moral of the story? All right, there are three possibilities. Possibility number one is virtual reality or the concerns about virtual reality are as ludicrous as, the concern about women exploding by going on a train going faster than 50 miles per hour. That, let's face it, VR and immersive technology, it's been super hyped the past few years, and it seems to cure all that ails you. It could very well just be this hyped expectation, and the reality is all content is safe and it will have no lasting effects and there's nothing to be concerned about. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is virtual reality is such an influential form of media that every little bit of content has to be carefully curated and reviewed before a single person sees it, because, who knows what lasting effects it could have. That's the other end of the spectrum. In my opinion, it's option number three, and this is the one I'm 99% sure of, is that it's somewhere in between. That the majority of content is completely safe, there's very little to worry about. However, the market still has a responsibility to get together on a regular basis to know for sure. Like there may be certain types of content that really can poorly influence consumers, and the market needs to know, or at least the market needs to discuss these things. So this is why the Immersive Technology Alliance is taking this step. We want the conversations to happen. We want the market leaders and the content makers to get together to talk about these things and learn from each other, because only good will come of it. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's far more important to have the conversations, and we want those conversations to happen. So that's where I'm going to end that topic. Now it's time for our interview with Alain Melchner, president of WakingApp. They have this wonderful software package that makes it possible for anyone to create virtual reality content, even if they have absolutely no programming expertise. Really exciting stuff. Here we go.
This is Neil Schneider for MTBS TV at FMX 2016. To my immediate right is Alain Melchner, who's founder and president of WakingApp. Welcome to the program, Alain.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Now, tell us about Entity Creator. This is your flagship product. What does it do?
Okay, we have created a content creation tool that enables everyone, not a developer, not an engineer, any artist, anyone on the streets. Of course, we are aiming for businesses more and content creators, professionals, but any 3D animator, any artist can now very easily, in minutes or hours, create even games in VR and AR without coding, without any previous experience.
So how elaborate can you get? So maybe you could, actually, let me rephrase. Can you talk about the process of creating content using Entity Creator?
So I guess, let's say an artist who creates very interesting assets. He can start with a simple thing. He can create his own VR 3D gallery in 10 minutes, half an hour. And it will be published immediately. When you publish something, it's immediately on all the devices that we support. Very soon we are going to support HTC Vive and Oculus also. So the only thing he needs to do is upload the files into the platform. He's just uploading the file, it gets into the cloud, and then he can drag and drop it to place it on the scene, publish it, and that's it. It's very easy. The file types are actually FBX files for 3D and some other file formats for 3D. Video files, you can now even upload a 4K stereoscopic sphere video and have it in the background. But the idea is that you can have multi-layers of multi-objects together, interact with each other, very easily, without coding and nothing.
So can you talk about the complexity of the content? What types of things have been created with Entity Creator so far?
Yeah, so what we're trying to say and teach the market is that it's not only for games. It's not only for entertainment. Architects have been using it to create very fast. They can transfer their own buildings from CAD or whatever they're building, their apartment, and create a virtual tour. The virtual tour can be even interactive and even database. It can go to the web, get the information about what apartments are free, and can show live information about what is free and what is the price. We created online stores, or not we actually, there are others who are creating it, online stores in VR, educational activities, architecture, tourism. Think about Airbnb, that everyone can, I mean it, in 10 minutes can upload their own 360 degrees apartment or take a video of it or a picture of it, and in 10 minutes it will be available as a VR experience. So anything can be done. And this is what we're trying to say. You are an artist, you don't need developers anymore. There are some funds even here that are funding like videos, like production of movies, and they also fund movies for VR. If you'll take the fund, you will need to invest 80 or 90% on it on development. Now, you don't need to. You can take the entire fund and invest it in art, invest it in yourself, and create something incredible. This is what we want to do. We want as much content in different verticals for anything, and this is why we are offering all our help. And this is actually why the platform is for free.
So just so I understand, so normally if I was interested in developing for virtual reality or augmented reality, I mean, you're not limited to VR, I understand.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah.
You can if I were to code it myself, I need all this extra expertise and programming knowledge, plus the understanding of VR and so on. And in this case, through Entity Creator, you can, plug and play, drag and drop, do what you need, and very quickly create content. And it's helpful if you have your own art, but do you have a repository of artwork as well?
Oh, so we are now cooperating with all the big websites for art when you can get assets for. I don't want to go into names because they will be there and we will publish them on the website, but we are cooperating with them, both for the content creators and both for the clients. And what I'm saying and offering them, this is a way to create demand. Because demand is not only for movies and games. It can be now an architect wants a tree, an educator wants a dinosaur, I don't know what. So the increase of demand will increase their sales. It's good for them. It's good for the artists. But there are multiple types of businesses that can grow. Schools to educate, because now you can teach people to create VR in, 5 meetings instead of 5 years or 5 months. New type of agencies and service providing can be created. But this is really that easy. You can. There is a company there now downstairs that scan people in 3D and make them animated. So imagine what the next step. If a non-professional will use that, he has nothing to do with this 3D model that was as a result. Now you can just take this 3D model, drop it in the platform, and that's it. You have yourself or as a presenter or whatever you want inside. So we are kind of connecting everyone, artists, 3D creators, asset stores, third-party technologies, and we are enabling everyone into the one place that the content can be created.
Now, when content is published, so first off, is the software free, or is there an expense? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's going to be for free. There's no plans to change it. Any content, and we actually encourage people to come right now, because anything that will be created before and if it will be changed, it's for free and it will remain for free. So start creating content now, don't wait. But if it will, we are considering all kind of marketplace solutions that the content creators can charge for the content, and there may be sharing income like it's used to be on mobile. But for now, it's for free. There's no plans for that. So anyone can start doing it for no matter what usage.
And when it comes to actually using the content, is it downloaded so you have a local copy on your PC? Is it streamed? Like how does that work?
Okay, so when you want to install it, you're installing a PC or on your PC, on your Mac, you have a software that can be installed officially on your computer. Then you activate, and this is the creator. All the assets, all the content that you are uploading from your computer is being sent to a cloud. This is one of our patents, the cloud idea and the ability to take content live. It's not like when you are creating an app and it's closed, and then you need 2 weeks to change something, even small. Now everything is live, everything is on the cloud, everything can be immediately changed. So to run it on a mobile device, because of the limitation of mobile, of iOS and Android, you still need an app to activate it. So the default way is there is one app, we call it Entity Viewer, rather than the Entity Creator. The viewer itself is kind of a marketplace. When you go inside, it's a one app that activates everything else. So the moment you publish your content, it's immediately there. Everyone can search for it. If it's good, it will be promoted and other things. For PC, like Oculus and HTC that will be released soon, we are going to enable you to create your own exe files. And then you will be able either to upload it to whatever market you want, or we can help you with that. And there are plans to do this also on mobile devices.
So you don't need to have a live internet connection to run the software once it's already published?
Okay, no. So a user needs live internet connection because it's on the cloud. but it needs to download it. But it's normal, because even if you want to download something from Apple or from iOS market, you need to download it once. Once you downloaded it, it stays on the cache of the mobile device, and then you don't need mobile connection.
That's what I mean. So, like, let's say I'm using a game, like downloading a game that was made with Entity Creator.
Yeah.
Once I've downloaded it, I don't have to be hooked up to the internet to run it. That's what I meant.
You don't. If it's VR, you don't. For AR, you do need, because the cloud for searching still needs the different type of cloud that search for what you scan. But if it's for VR, it stays on the cache and you don't need anything.
Okay, so there's different aspects to this, of course. There's virtual reality, there's augmented reality. Can you talk about some of the things you've been able to do in the AR front?
Okay, so AR has also unlimited amount of functions and abilities. Architecture is also very easy, but education, tourism. There is in Tel Aviv, where I'm coming from Israel, in Tel Aviv there was like streets of where the ancient train was, and there are spots with signs that you can scan and get information and see how it was. And there are, we have done something for a big mobile manufacturing company that needs to have manuals on how to connect the battery into the phone. So instead of calling them and cost a lot of money, the same thing happened with the remote control with company with camera, with the televisions. So you know the problem of remote controls, that you need to set them up for the cables, and then you need to click on this and this and this, and it takes a lot of time. So instead you just hold the remote control. You see on the remote control itself, it lights where you need to click and what you need to do with the guidance. And this type of manual can be created in an hour or 2 or 3, depends on how much, and nothing else. It's ready. So the cost of it, it's nothing.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And what's the learning curve? How long does it take to learn to develop using the platform?
I can say half an hour, but some can argue. So let's say a few hours, up to like 2 days. I don't think it should take more. If you invest more time in it, because there is a logic system inside, that it's a drag and drop commands, that you can create many things, and the logic is more complex. There are many commands, so you can use the basic ones, but if you invest some more time, you can get into the more advanced ones to create, like, I don't know, a mini game or something. So a few hours to a week, it's like a lot. So this is why we are working now with lots of universities and colleges that now have the ability to teach VR and AR creation for anything, for communication, for technology education. So you know, everything. I think every department, every part of the academy can use it, and we are now doing that with several universities. We are building like one semester, 12 meetings. Any student that will finish this will have like a big portfolio. Even is finishing it with the portfolio. So learning curve is fast, immediate, I think.
Now, something that caught my eye and my ear, you actually brought it up a touch a little bit earlier in the interview, but I saw a sample of it where you could actually take video samples and make them like three-dimensional objects, or volumetric objects. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit on that. Okay,
so we can imagine space, okay? VR is like our own space. So we are actually surrounded by content, okay? Real content. In VR, you need to imagine the same thing. I can have something here and something here and something here. So you can even take two-dimensional pictures or videos and place them as a gallery, or place them on a wall of the 3D apartment or whatever you're doing. But because of the 3D cameras, and of course stereoscopic cameras are even better, because they do make you feel like you are in a 3D environment, even though it's like flat. So 3D environments can, and this is something that we enabled just lately into the platform, can be uploaded into the platform both as a picture, stereoscopic picture, or a stereoscopic video. So imagine you want to create a game or a presentation or whatever you want. You can easily take a video stereoscopic clip, make it like a sphere that surrounds you, but you can still have another layer of video of a person that was like taken on a green screen. So it's like an alpha channel of a video, and it's transparent. You can have another 3D object. You can have another 3D object. You can say, whenever I'm clicking on this, I want the video to do something else. So you can create an interactive, live 3D, stereoscopic, whatever you want, unlimited amount of objects together, and create infinite types of content, and this is what we offer. It's not template-based. It's not limited.
Very exciting stuff. I mean, all around. But, I really like that idea of having volumetric objects and placing them like a chair or an elephant or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like it's somewhat unusual. Like just earlier I spoke with a company called Realtra, and they create these volumetric objects. And I could see something like that completely tying in with this.
Yeah, actually, what's exciting for me that everyone is potentially our partners. Those companies there, they have like a way to see through the camera, to place things in space, and they will remain in space. So the first question for me, and actually I know their own pain, is that their clients will ask, the first question is, how can I create the content? So I said, okay, take the platform, create the content, use it with your own technology, and you solve everything. You gave them like 360 degrees solution, not viewing. You create 3D object, or you scan people, or you scan objects. You can now implement them, because otherwise only professional will use that. And we want professional content, but I think content will win only if it will not be done only by AAA games and AAA professionals, or how should you call them. Anyone should do that. A teacher can go to class and an hour before it upgrade his books with something relevant that it will increase the learning curve. Anything can be done now. You can take your business card and add content to it and change it every day. You can change your shirt. So it should be like YouTube like what the effect of YouTube for many. And of course YouTube is actually for private person, if you may relate it to as C. We are aiming to B, but C can use it also. Private users, you have your birthday card, upgrade it, So, but when more and more content, from the simplest to the more complex, will be ready, when it will cost like 1% of what it costs now, it will increase the demand, it will increase the amount of content, and this is how it will help this ecosystem grow, and this is what we're trying to do. This is why we offer the platform for free, so anyone will use it.
So for those that want to use it, I'm sure there are many, how do they go about getting it and getting started?
Okay, so they should go to our website. It's called WakingApp.com. And the platform itself is called Entity, with an I in the end. But they can go, just download the app, register with their own account, and then they can immediately start creating something. We wanted to do it even faster for them, for early adopters. Not early adopters, sorry, early starters without experience. So they can start with a blank project, or they can start with the template. We are constantly adding more templates, and actually templates are pre-made projects. So they can have their own store or their own gallery. If you want your own VR gallery, you just start it, name it, double-click, upload the different pictures for the gallery, and that's it. After 5-10 minutes, you have your own VR gallery. I think when they'll feel it for the first time, when they'll see their own creation after 10 minutes, they will start to think what more I can do. And this is where they'll go to more websites to buy assets for 3D. And this is where they'll think about new solutions. And I really believe that everyone knows their own pain. So they need to find solution for their own pain, but they need to know that they have a way to solve it. So we are, in the website itself, there is a full documentation. We are having more and more how to do videos. We'll be happy to get more from others. We are inviting anyone. We are actually creating this ecosystem, and we are inviting artists and video editors and anyone who can help this ecosystem grow. Or he wants clients, and clients coming for us, we are sending them to others who create it. It's like really a community that is growing, and everyone helps each other in their own way. And this is exciting because I don't know what will be the results. Every day I see new things that is being created, and we didn't even dream of the idea of using that. And none of us, no one really knows what it will be used for and for how many things. I think it will be used for everything. So we are trying to do that. We're inviting everyone to start and creating.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's all for today. Do you have an opinion to share? Is there something you want to see here in Neil's Messy Basement? Would you like to visit my messy basement virtually? By all means, email me at neilsmessybasement@mtbs3d.com. Thank you for watching. We'll talk again next week.